Good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel, Crochet with Lulu. How is everybody doing? It is a gorgeous day here in Middle Tennessee. We are having rain, and we so desperately needed rain, and I'm just so thankful that we have finally gotten some rain. It's been probably maybe a little over a week since we've had any rain. So our grass was just, it was in sad shape, especially in the backyard where the morning sun hits. If you wonder what I'm doing sitting here holding this bag of mandala cake yarn, if you've ever worked with mandala, sometimes it kind of has issues. It sticks to itself and it will knot up and just get all tangled up when you're trying to pull enough off to work with. So it already had sort of a eruption earlier, so I snipped it. Normally I would sit and fool with it and get it to where that I could use it, but I can use that. I will eventually sit and work with it because I don't like to waste any yarn. Yarn is too precious. So I thought today we would do something a little different in today's time. I have an idea, and you leave me a comment in the comment section if you want to participate. There's no charge. It's at your own time. It's at your own leisure. I thought we would do a crochet along, and I thought we would work on a granny corner to corner granny shawl. They're quick and they're easy, and I know fall is coming quickly, I hope. And these would make an awesome Christmas gift if you wanted to give them as a gift or whatever. I mean, it's your project. You can use any color you want, any yarn you want. I do suggest some words of advice before you go purchase yarn. If you're fairly new to buying yarns, you're going to want to look at skin sensitivities, what's going to feel good next to your skin. If it's harsh, the mandala is very soft and squishy. It's very soft and squishy. But like I said, it will tangle very easily. And a lot of times when you pull the wrapper off, it just kind of falls apart, and then you're left with a cleanup on aisle 13. So I love mandalas. I love the colors. They have some of the prettiest colorways. You can use Karen Cake. You can use Premier Yarns. You can use Super Saver. You can use Line Brand. It doesn't really matter. The only thing you need to do is make sure your skin, it feels good to your skin. It's not going to cause irritation. And you want to make sure that you look at the washing and the care instructions. You won't be washing this every day, or probably not every week. You're probably going to wash it once in a while because it is an outer garment and you're just not going to have to wash it that often. So if you get a yarn that needs to be hand washed, if that's okay with you, it's your project. Just look at the care instructions, the yardage, because you want to get enough. Now, I can't tell you how much to get. I usually say 2 cakes or at least 2 to 3 or more skeins. Your yarn size, your hook size, and the tension of your chains and your crocheting determines a lot. And how often, if you want different colors, if you want to change colors often, it's completely up to you. If you're familiar with color changes and you don't mind that, I love color changes. I love working. That's one reason I love getting something that has so many different colors in it already. Then I don't have to worry about tying off until I come to the end of the cake. Or if you get a puzzle yarn or the self-striping, whatever you choose, it's your project. We just crochet along with me when I crochet and post a video, and then you can leave me a comment in the comment section how far along you are, what row you're on, and what I would love to hear all about the yarn you get. I'm wanting to make a trip to Hobby Lobby as soon as possible. I have the itch to go to Hobby Lobby. I want to get to Hobby Lobby and find me some more yarns to keep here on hand. I have a lot of yarn, but to do a tutorial, you almost want a yarn that's like this, that you can see the stitches and the differences in the stitches. I have a lot of variegated yarns and the squiggly line yarns. I have a lot of this yarn, and I don't know if you can really tell much about it. See how squiggly? So I have a lot of this, and I have a lot of the variegated, and I love that. But to do a tutorial or anything like that, you want a yarn that's going to be easy to see the stitches, something like this, or you need a solid color. So that's why I usually try to get solid colors. That's why some of my yarns are scrap yarns, whatever. This can be a scrap shawl. You know, you can use up all the extra yarns that you have that you don't know what you're going to do with. That's like this one. I ordered it because I loved it. I love the colors. I love the colorway. I started out making a granny square blanket. And I thought, you know, I'm just really not in the mood for a granny square blanket. And I wanted to do a crochet along, so it hit me the other night. I have this mandala cake that I really don't know what I'm going to do with. And I thought it would just be so pretty worked in a shawl. And then I have other colors to kind of go along the edging if I want to do it. Now, also keep in mind how far you want to go in your shawl. If you are buying a cake with colorways, you want to get at least, for a normal shawl, I would say 2 cakes. If you want to go really long with your shawl, then you're going to want to get at least 2 more cakes. Keep your receipts, ask them the return policy, and then if you want to return what you don't use and cut on, you know, I'm sure, you know, just find out the return policy. Because if you're buying the colors just for your shawl, you want to be able to return what you don't use. So that's some words of advice. So let's get started. Grab your hooks and we'll just crochet along. We'll get started on this, and then, like I said, leave me a comment in the comment section if you're participating. I would love to see pictures, but unfortunately it doesn't give us that option to do. So what we'll do is we'll just talk about it. You can tell me what yarns, if you use mandala, and the colorway, how many cakes you bought, whatever. I would love to know. I would love to know what row you're on. But let's get started. Let's start. I like to start mine with a chain of 5, and that gives me enough room to put what I need to in there. So there's 3, 4, 5, and then join with the slip stitch at the beginning chain. If you've never worked a corner to corner, I beg you to please start, because you'll be hooked. It's very, very easy, and it's very quick. It is very quick. I was so shocked the first one I made, how easy and how quick it went. And you can also stop at a certain point if you just want a bandana. You know, you can make a bandana or a kerchief, some calls it, to match. You know, so keep that in mind. Another advice on the mandalas. A lot of the mandalas, I'm not sure about the cairn cakes, but a lot of the mandalas, even if you buy the same colorways, it may not stop and start with the same color that you have on your project. So look at the colorways, look and see inside the cake what's coming up next. You just want to make sure that it's what you want when you buy it. So let's get started. We've started with the chain of 5. We've joined with the slip stitch. We're going to chain 4. That's your first double crochet and your first chain 1. We're going to come back in here and we're going to do and also watch that because I had just reached and grabbed that other stitch. Reach under, grab, pull through. We're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. It's like the corner of a granny square is what we're working on right now, but we're not making a square at all. It's just the corner section, and this will be for every middle of every row. This will be what you have: 3 doubles, 2 chains, and 3 doubles. And I hope I'm staying in the camera. Now before and after that one set of stitches, you will always just use a chain 1. But when you come to that point, and it'll make sense in a few minutes if you've never worked with this pattern before, this is your middle. This is the part that's going to become flat, and it's going to be the part that fits up against the back of your neck. So all of these stitches from here on out is going to be at the top of your neck and your shoulders. This is going to be what hangs down your back right here. So this is the part that you'll use 2 chains between the 2 sets of double crochets. Okay, we've chained 1, so we put another set of 3. I'm sorry, we put 1 double. Forgive me, my mind today, I have had so many interruptions. I'm using an iPhone 8. Go ahead and chain your 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to turn our work. I'm using an iPhone 8, and it doesn't have the pause on the camera, which a lot of them don't. But mine is so sensitive, if my alarm goes off, and I set many alarms a day, if one of my alarms goes off, it takes my camera off. So then I have to do a part 2, and then I'm thinking, I'm not going to do that to him. If it was a tutorial, it would be different to do a part 1 and a part 2 to keep the length down. But I don't want to do a part 1 and 2 when I'm just yakking. So I've had a lot of interruptions, people knocking at the door. I had to schedule a package pickup. That happened. The gas company was here. Alarms went off. Things happened, and I've made probably like 10 videos this morning. So it's almost 3 o'clock. So we're working on yet another one. Let's pray we get this done. Just pray for me. Okay, we've chained our 4 chains. We come back in this space and we're going to put 3 double crochets. Now with mandala, you really want to watch your stitches, and sometimes I let my stitches pull and it makes ugly stitches, and you know what I'm talking about, because you'll have one with a big old hole in it and the other ones will be tiny holes. Now to get from here, we need to be in this space. We chain 1. Always remember, unless you're in this V right here, you do a chain 1 between your clusters. So we do 3 doubles, 2 chains, and 3 doubles in this. And it makes more sense the further, if you've not worked with the corner to corner granny square or granny shawl pattern, it makes more sense. And I apologize if I have to go in a few minutes and snap my fingers. Sophie sometimes gets a little rough with Bigsby, and he has skin allergies so bad, and we're trying to keep her from getting so rough with him so those places will be okay. But he's just in torment. Now see, just by pulling that out, I've already got a tangle. So let's work with that for just a minute. If I see it's going to be an issue, I will snip it. I'm not afraid to snip it. A lot of yarns do this, but especially the mandala. And I'm going to try not to keep this video going very long today. Okay, so we chain one, and we go down here and we work 3 doubles. But I am going to try to hurry and do my stitches. Please rewind if you need to, or slow it down. Now, we need to match this side. So we need an extra 1 double. So what we do is we count 1, 2, 3 in that very beginning chain, and we put a double crochet in the 3rd. And sometimes it's a dickens to get in there. You just keep working with it and you pull it. Now you want to keep this as tight as you can, because this is the part that goes up at the top. Unless you put a border on it, it's going to show. So you really want to work with that one. And you almost always will have a big hole on some of it, especially if it splits. I'm going to go back and try to fix this so that it's not a hole. I think I'm going to come right here. Typically you wouldn't do that, but I don't want that big gaping hole at the top of my shawl. There we go. That's much better. Now you see it start taking shape after 2 rows. The further you get into it, the more it's going to take shape. Chain 4. Turn it. And you're going to come right back into that space you just got out of, and you're going to put 3 doubles. That chain 4 was your first double and your chain 1, because remember we do a chain 1 between our work. So we chain 1, and now we have spaces beginning. We have one here and we have one here. Our next row will have 3 on each side. This one and this one. And then your corner will count as 1. So we need to be up here in this space. So we do 3 double and a chain 1. Chain 1. And then we do our 3 double, chain 2, 3 double. And like I said, I will post videos in addition to the other videos, and I will let you know what row I'm on. And then you can leave me comments in the comment section what row you're on. And like I said, I would love to hear about the yarns you're using. If you're changing colors on your own, you know, this would be a pretty time to start doing your color changes, is after you get this first little cluster here. Or you may want to do it every row. It's up to you. It's your project. It's your shawl. I would ask that if you don't need your shawl, if you would donate it to a nursing home or to a church or a woman's shelter. and I don't have any particulars in mind. I know there's a local church here in where I live that takes, they call them prayer shawls, and they make squares and prayer shawls and lap blankets for the nursing home and for people that need them, like that's terminal. So I think that's such a wonderful, wonderful thing. So you might even check with your churches or go to a shelter in your community, and you know, when you see how quickly these work up, this is the only stitch pretty much through the whole thing that will take up time, and it's just because you've pulled it tight to get all those other stitches in and around it. Okay, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it doesn't look right to you, you can always go back and fix it. 3 doubles, chain 1, and then here's the side, and don't forget your chain 1 in between. That just keeps your yarn from pulling a little bit more, and it kind of defines that you're going over a cluster. So upcoming tutorials, I have kind of struggled with what to do next, and there was several things that I wanted to do, but I think since we are getting, we're already in September, it's never too early to start Christmas gifts. So I think we'll work on some Christmas ornaments, the icicle, the little snowflake, some of the miniature. Now remember, here we do chain 2. Some of the miniature stockings for the advent calendars. We'll just have fun, and we'll go along, and we'll work on our shawl in between. Now when you finish your shawl, some of you may want to put a border around it. That would be very pretty. And like I said, you can make your shawl as long as you want it. I intend on making this one longer because I want it to cover my whole arms, or at least as much of my arms as it can. The last one I made was very short, and I want something to cover my arms. My arms get so cold. I always say if the top of my legs and my shoulders stay warm, then I can manage. But when they start getting cold, I'm miserable. You hear the snorting in the background. That's the 2 stinkers over here playing. And I may have to snap my fingers any minute. She gets so rough. She wants to play with him so much. She loves him, and he loves her. I remember when I was little, I'm an only child, and when I was little, I would go to my grandmother's in the daytime, and I was always so excited when all my cousins could come over, and we'd go out and play and roller skate in the driveway. And there was a little grocery store. It was a little convenient market that was nearby, and we'd all hope we had enough change to go get a cold drink. Back in those days, it was glass bottles, and we would walk over there and get it, and just so excited. And my uncle and aunt from Michigan, when they would come home, it was just so wonderful. You know, you had all these cousins and family to play with, and That's kind of what Sophie and Bigsby act like sometimes, is that like they haven't seen each other in ages, and they just get so excited to see each other. Even after just a nap, they get really excited, and they've had their little nap time, so they both wanted to play. So I'm going to end this after this row. I've got us started here on this shawl, and we will pick back up. You go along at your own pace. Finish, if you want to finish it, finish it. Just please, I would love to hear about it. I want to know the colors and the size, how many cakes or how many skeins or what. I just want to hear all the details. I love hearing about yarn and projects. You may have finished by the time I do another video and be starting another one. And like I said, don't forget now, you can make your kerchief or your bandana, whatever you want to call it, while you're doing your shawl. You may want to do it in a coordinating color. Just don't forget your spaces and fill in with your granny clusters. And I hope everybody is having a good week. It's Wednesday here. And like I said, we've had a little bit of a rain off and on throughout the day, and we really needed it. I'm hoping we'll have more rain. It sounded so good early this morning. It just opened up and literally just poured the rain. I mean, it was a hard rain. It didn't last long, but it was so nice hearing it while it did. Now I'm going to finish this row, and I'm going to stop with this, and then I'll pick back up later and do some more. I just wanted to get us started, and hopefully a lot of you will join in and enjoy. I have one more stitch to go in here, and then I'm going to stop. So this is what we've got worked out. Let me pull my stitch up there. This is what we've got worked out. Now, like I said, sometimes that will kind of curl up. Just after every row, just kind of work with it. Because what happens is that one stitch that you're putting here and here and here and here in your chain, it kind of pulls that tight. And so your tops want to start curling up. Just kind of pull it and keep it pulled out. And this is going to be the top part. This is going to be what's, if it's for your head, if you're making the kerchief or the bandana, this is going to be the top that comes down over your forehead or about the center part of your head. This part is going to go down the back of your hair if it's a bandana or a kerchief. If it's the shawl, this part is going to keep building on both sides, and then it's going to grow and grow and grow. And like I said, this part is going to keep getting thicker and thicker and thicker, but it'll never be a big area because you're going in a corner shape. Does that make sense? So that's where you're going to have to decide how long you want your shawl. The longer you make your shawl, the thicker that will get, and then it will drape over your arms easier. And you may want to use buttons. Like when this comes over your arms in the front, you may want to use a button to go here to keep it closed, or a big ribbon, you know, cut off a ribbon. Whatever you want to do, or if you're just comfortable keeping it draped over your arms, however you want to do it, it's totally up to you. If you want buttons, you have the perfect setup to use a button. Just make sure that your spaces will go around it, or you're going to have to figure out a loop with some leftover yarn and tie it in. So I usually try to figure out the size button that will fit, and a pretty good size button will fit through that space. So yeah, that's what we'll do. And I hope to hear from you in the comments if you're crocheting along and what you're doing. And especially when you finish, I want to hear all about it. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel. And stay tuned. Hit the notification button for when we do tutorials. And I hope to have another video on tonight. If not, I'll have one on tomorrow showing some more shawl. So have a good evening. Everybody stay safe and hydrated. And be kind. Bye.